Hi, everybody. Welcome to Life Stories. I'm so glad that you're here. Today on the podcast, I speak with Susan from Casting for Recovery. Casting for Recovery is a program that offers retreats for women who have been through breast cancer all over the United States. They have these beautiful spots next to rivers and places for women to learn how to fly fish. And the headquarters is in Bozeman, Montana. Susan talks about the program and she talks about how it's run and what the retreats entail and why it is so special for these women to get away for a little bit and to be around other people who understand what they're going through and to learn a lot of different things, not just about fishing. So the word of the week this week
It's the word of the week.
is nature. I was telling Susan at the end of our podcast, and I think I deleted it. I am not an outdoorsy kind of person. I've never been an outdoorsy kind of person. If you've seen the t-shirts that say I'm indoorsy, I need to be wearing one of those. But since we moved out to East Texas, we moved on to some property. I think I've been outside more in the last 4 years than I have my entire life. Maybe not, but I've been outside a lot because I love being in nature out here. It's quiet. We have lots and lots and lots of trees, thousands of trees on this property. We have a stock pond where we can go and sit, and I don't fish, but I can be with my husband while he does fish. I love to listen to the birds. I loved watching all the frogs and lizards before we got two cats. I love being outside. And we talked about what an incredible gift it is for these women, not just to be away from hospital visits and, doctor's visits and talking about everything that they've been going through and just to be in nature. I think it's healing. I think it's, God's created this beautiful earth for us to enjoy. And I understand why these retreats are so effective and powerful for these women. So I hope you will take a little time to be outside in nature today. Go to a park, go sit outside on your porch and just listen and be quiet and leave your phone inside or, turn it upside down. Don't even look at it. Just enjoy being in nature for a little bit. I think your body needs it. It's so good for you to be doing that. I hope you enjoy today's episode and I thank you for listening. Have a great day. Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah.
Good. Good, good. So when we talked the other day, I don't know that you told me or if I asked, did you used to be in Montana? Like, did you
No.
used to live there? You didn't. So how did you get involved in Casting for Recovery if it's in Montana and you're here in Texas?
Um, oddly, so Casting for Recovery was founded in Vermont. Um, Orbis was the founding sponsor
Uh-huh.
way back in the day, and the Orbis headquarters are there in Vermont. And I had a former boss who wanted to learn to fly fish, and she said, I went and took some casting lessons with her, and she's like, "Have you heard of this organization?" And I was a photographer in a previous career, and I pitched a story to the American Medical Association about Casting for Recovery, and they sent me to Vermont to
Wow.
photograph it, and I just loved the program.
Yeah.
And so I started volunteering, and then one of the executive directors who currently lives in Bozeman. She
Mhm.
moved the office out there because of relationships with a lot of anglers and Sims, and it's a fly fishing mecca out there. So
Yeah.
um, that's how it ended up in Bozeman.
Okay. Well, can
Yeah.
you tell me how it got started? I read a little bit about it online, which I think it's a beautiful program.
Oh, yeah,
I just think it's wonderful. Would you tell me about how it got started?
absolutely. So it was started by two women. One was a reconstructive breast surgeon, and the other one was an angler.
Yeah.
And on some of their fishing outings, it came up just how healing it was to be out in nature and be on the water or near the water, and that the casting motion of fly fishing could be good physical therapy, could be therapeutic for women who've had a mastectomy or surgery and they have scar tissue in their upper body, their arm, their shoulder, their chest. And the casting motion can be good for stretching that soft tissue area. So for range of motion, essentially,
Yeah.
it could help with that. And so that concept was born of the idea of taking women out of a clinical setting getting
Mhm.
them out on the river, and letting them learn something totally new that we know that anybody can learn how to do. It
Yeah.
doesn't fly fishing is not a power sport, and women make wonderful anglers for that reason. Um, and when you're fly fishing, it's not just like sitting there waiting to see your bobber go down. You're really thinking about where you're trying to cast and place the fly, where you think the fish might be, really working on your casting motion to get that fly to land right where you want it to. So a lot of people equate it to a mindfulness exercise because you're completely absorbed in the moment of trying to do that.
Yeah.
And we have women at our retreats that come off the water and say, I can't believe I was out there for 3 hours. It felt like 15 minutes. And I never thought about cancer the whole time. I was just so
Wow.
engaged in what I was doing. And so we they just realized that there were so many healing aspects
Mhm.
to this. And that's how the retreats were born. They started with 2 retreats back in 1996, and we're going to have 60 retreats this year around the country.
Wow. So it's
Yeah,
not just in Bozeman, it's all over.
it's all over. It's
Okay.
Alaska, Florida, Maine,
Wow.
California. We serve women in all 50 states.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is awesome. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. So tell me, um, what does a retreat look like when women show up to
Sure.
these retreats?
Well, all of our retreats are free. The women are selected randomly to attend. Most of them do not know one another. We do a lot of pre-retreat communications and prep so that everybody's um, comfortable and ready to attend. They arrive not knowing each other. We pretty quickly start doing some things to get them um, to meet one another and feel comfortable. Our first evening, all of our retreats are 2 nights, three
Okay.
days. Um, the first night is really about transitioning from your work day, family, all of that into a retreat environment and setting the tone for that. Most of our retreats are in really pretty places because
Yeah.
fish tend to live in pretty
Right.
places. And so um, we we start with that, just getting to know one another, maybe a campfire, and then on the second day we hit the ground running. So they learn all the basics of fly fishing from uh, casting, some conservation and stewardship, healthy water, how to safely land a fish and release a fish
Mhm.
so that we're also protecting the resource. That's what our program is all about. They learn about safety gear, they learn about knots and entomology and the bugs and all of that kind of stuff. We don't go into extreme detail because not everybody wants to know. They don't want to become an expert on all of this, just enough to keep
Right.
it really interesting and also build confidence. So they're all learning over the course of the weekend. Interspersed with all of those activities are group activities with oncology professionals. So we bring in oncologists and oncology RNs and breast nurse navigators who are there the whole weekend in
Oh,
shorts or
wow.
jeans. So really casual and approachable. We also have oncology social workers who lead some groups. So they have some opportunities to talk about the physical and emotional effects of breast cancer.
Yeah.
They're bonding with one another. And then the final day, we bring in 14 men and women from the local community who are experienced anglers, and every woman has a guide for a half day of catch and release fly fishing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is
Yeah.
amazing. I love it. I just think I loved how it got started. I read about the surgeon and the angler, and I just think that is just so cool that, the
I
two
know.
of them could work together and put this program together. And now it's all over the country. That's just amazing. My husband's actually going fly fishing on Thursday.
Oh, nice. Where's he
Yeah,
going?
he is going to Lake Texoma.
Yeah.
He's taking his dad and he's going to go fishing
Aw,
overnight. So yeah, he's excited. Or Friday. He's leaving Friday. Um,
wonderful.
One of the things that I read on the website said that 70% of the women who attend the retreats have not been to a support group. Why do you think women are not doing that?
One, I think there's a lot of avenues out there now that maybe back in the day were considered out of the box or whatever. I think even casting for recovery at some point was like, this is non-traditional. I don't think you can really call anything traditional
Right.
anymore. It's working for you, it's working for you. And so but I do think that there are some stigmas attached
Hmm.
to support groups in movies, sitting around in a circle in the same environment, maybe where you got treatment,
Yeah.
um, passing a talking stick and it being really a downer. And that's in reality, that's not what support groups are like.
Right.
And I think they're also, it takes some guts to walk into a room and be ready to talk about some things. So I
Yeah.
think that I've heard it called the back door to therapy because
Hmm.
leading with something else that folks might really want to do, like learn to fly fishing,
Right.
not learn to fly fish. For many women, they say this is a bucket list item. I love this. It's beautiful. I love to fish. I love to be outdoors. I've always wanted to try this. And here's this opportunity to try something unique. And along the way, you're going to bond with these other women and with the
Yeah.
staff. And you're just going to start to feel really comfortable because all of our retreats are purposely small. We
Right.
typically serve 14 women. We've typically got 12 staff over the course of the weekend. They're all female. And we're just building trust and comfort. And even if you don't speak up about your own experience, you're hearing others talk about
Right.
their experience. And sometimes that really aligns with how you're feeling. So you are benefiting from that. And meeting someone else that maybe has the same type of cancer, has gone through the same treatment process, had some of the same issues, and seeing them 10 years out, and maybe
Yeah.
you're in the midst of your treatment, there's a lot of hope that
Sure.
brings. And for that person that's 10 years out, we hear it all the time. They say, wow, I thought I was past some of those things and I found that I wasn't. But being able to help somebody else,
Yeah.
I'm finding that to be really healing to be able to help somebody else in their journey. And I didn't expect that either.
Sure. You said earlier that these women are chosen at random. How are they chosen? Does somebody nominate them or do they
Oh,
sign up to do it?
they
They all
sign up
sign up?
themselves. Every once in a while somebody will sign a woman up and she doesn't know that
Oh,
she was signed up, maybe it's her sister or partner
yeah.
or something,
Yeah.
and she's like, I actually remember ever signing up. um, but typically it's the woman herself signing up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just wondered about that. I figured, but I just wondered about that. So y'all rely on volunteers in every place. What do the volunteers do?
So we have a huge volunteer base. It's really the heart of our organization is this vast volunteer group that we have. We have about 1,800 volunteers across the
Wow.
country. And so we have, like this year we're putting on 60 retreats, and some programs may host multiple retreats in
Uh-huh.
a year. So we have about 55 programs, I'm sorry, 45 programs across the country, and we'll have a volunteer that is essentially the coordinator of that program. And then in addition to that person, there are oncology professionals, there are anglers,
Mhm.
um, we have a lot of alums that come back from our retreats and want to
Wow.
volunteer. And perhaps they're not an angler or a wellness professional. They may come back as someone that's on our hospitality group. So
Yeah.
they're just helping with all the myriad of details,
Yeah.
moving furniture, getting stuff cleaned up, talking with
Right.
women, all of that throughout the weekend. We have fundraising coordinators. All of our programs fundraise in their local community to support
Okay.
their retreats. Um, Outreach, we have folks that are just getting the word out to people in their community. It really runs the gamut. And I mentioned that the retreat staff is all female. It's all female until
Yeah.
fishing day. And then we
Right.
have men and women that come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you have um, retreats in Texas?
Here in Texas, we have two in Waring, which is down near Bernie outside of San
Uh-huh.
Antonio.
Yeah.
They fish on a part of the Guadalupe there.
Yeah.
And then we have one, actually two in Latham Springs is the name of the venue, and it's in Akia, which is south of DFW.
Okay.
So yeah, so west of I-35.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, and we've
Awesome.
had different venues over time. Sometimes
Yeah.
we've east of DFW and we've been in different areas, but we really want the venue to work for us. We're not putting women in bunk beds
Right.
or they have nice accommodations, because if they're
Yeah.
not sleeping well, they're not going to be able to maximize their time together.
Right.
Also need to be close to water, and
Yeah.
which can be challenging here in Texas with some of our
Yes.
drought conditions.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're having to pivot with that, but we're pretty flexible. So.
Can you think of a story or just something that stands out to you that has happened since you've been working with this program? Something that just amazed you or, really touched your heart? Yeah.
I think there's so many things that come up because everybody's story is unique. And we had a woman named Jane who she was here in Texas. We've had retreats for 18 years.
Mhm.
And I believe she was in our third group. And um, a, maybe a week or two after the retreat, I heard from her husband who said, Jane came home and I told her that I hadn't seen her smile like that since
Oh,
she'd been.
wow.
And it just got me,
Yeah.
to know that somebody had that kind of experience. And you think fishing, oncology support, I don't know, would that really change someone's life? But it, yeah, it really can.
I
That
think
kind
so
of
too.
support and just feeling like you're around people that understand and you're not
Right.
alone and you're not an oddball in how you're feeling. Half the people in the room are feeling the exact same way you are, and you're like,
Right.
okay, I'm all right in the way
Yeah.
that I'm feeling. And really, through our retreats, our goal is to help women engage fully in life again, whatever
Mhm.
that might be. We had a young woman in Louisiana. Sometimes it's education. We had a
Mhm.
young woman who didn't realize that her reconstruction could be covered by insurance,
Oh,
and
wow.
she didn't have the she didn't have the financial means to pay for
Right.
reconstruction herself, and she she couldn't believe it. She's like, "That's not true." And they were like, "No, let us help you navigate some of this online and see
Yeah.
what information we can get you to go back to your doctor." She was like 32. She had a 2-year-old. So
Wow.
she really wanted to have reconstruction. And so she went home with this information that no one had ever told her. And
Wow.
she was just so happy that she was able to do that. Um, for some women, it's being introduced or reintroduced to nature again.
Yeah.
Maybe they had been an athlete or just a big outdoors person before their diagnosis and treatment. And since that time, they just hadn't gotten back into it.
Right.
And this was a way to remember just how good it feels
Yeah.
to be near the water, to be out in nature with the sights and the sounds, and be immersed in that, which can be so healing. And there's tons of research around
Oh,
lowering
yeah.
blood pressure and stress relief, all of it that comes from being in nature. And
For
so
real.
um, we have a mother and daughter coming together, selected randomly this year for a
Wow.
retreat, which is which is really powerful when you think about
Yeah.
one of them. I don't know which one was diagnosed first, but just, when you have a loved one
Right.
diagnosed with cancer, there's so much that you're worried about for them. And then you're diagnosed and the
Mm.
support is going back and forth. And I mean, you can pretty quickly get in your head and understand how complicated that
Sure.
could be with someone close to you. And um, the stories just go on and
I
on.
bet.
But some amazing transformations at retreats
I
for sure.
believe it. I
Yeah.
believe it. Is that your favorite thing, getting to see and hear these stories?
Oh yeah. I think
Yeah.
just there's a big transformation that happens when they arrive, kind of like, what's this going to be like? Will I
Mhm.
be able to do it? Am I strong enough to do this? Physically, emotionally, what are the women going to be like? And then to see them on fishing day, they've shared a lot, they've
Right.
experienced a lot, they've trusted other people, they've learned some things, they've possibly said some things that they've never said to anybody else before, things that
Right.
they couldn't say to their family. And then they've gone out and they've been successful at an entirely new activity. I
Mhm.
mean, it changes you, and
Yeah.
then to see that transformation is truly my favorite. Absolutely, and just to
Yeah.
meet the women because they come from all walks of life, all experiences, and but they all have a breast cancer journey in common, and so
Yeah.
they start off knowing that everybody else in the room has been through breast cancer, and that elevates that bonding pretty quickly.
Yeah. I love it. I love hearing those stories. I wish people, in all the organizations that I've spoken with, and I hear stories like what you're saying, you can just see it on your face how much joy it brings just to hear how these lives are changed. And if people would participate in something like this or like that, all these different because people are doing great things like this all over. I mean, they really are. I'm finding it. I am finding these people and when you give of your time, even just a little time and see somebody's life change like that, it changes you. I mean, it really affects you. And so I wish people would be able to get involved. The last lady I talked to was with a program called Lasagna Love. I think I told you about that when we chatted the other day. Well, I signed up and already got matched and already made my lasagna and delivered it. And my mom signed up and she's doing the same thing. And so I love it. It's a little thing. It's not a big thing. It's a little thing, but it just is so rewarding to be able to help somebody else, even in a small way. So I love this program. I love what they're doing. I loved that it was in Bozeman, or part of it was in Bozeman. My nephew's in college up there, and so we haven't been, but I see pictures and it just looks stunning, just beautiful up there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have a national headquarters in Bozeman, Montana, and so that's where all the fly fishing gear currently is, our waders
Mhm.
and boots, and they get cleaned and shipped out to
Oh
different
wow.
around the country, with the rods and reels and everything else. So it's a it's a well-oiled machine up there.
Yeah,
We have a small staff, but they're making it happen, which
that's
is
awesome. Is there anything else I didn't ask or that you wanted to tell me about?
um I think sometimes people ask like, how could they volunteer if they wanted to, or if they wanted
Sure.
to get involved. And um, I tell folks just to go to our website, which is castingforrecovery.org, and you can find out more about us if you're interested in applying for a retreat.
Mhm.
There's a retreats tab, and you go to your state, and you'll see the retreats that are available in your area. We
Yeah,
ask them to apply to the retreat closest to them because then they can build community with others in their area.
sure.
Um, and volunteering is an easy form, and we use volunteers of all kinds, really, year round, not just at the retreat. So
Okay.
sometimes folks want to host an event, or they're doing something with their company. They just want to
Yeah.
give back in some way, or they're an angler and they want to guide a woman on fishing day,
Sure.
or and some folks want to support financially, and all of
Yeah.
that's on our website.
Okay.
And we couldn't do it without everybody.
I understand. I'm gonna have your website posted when I post the video. I'll make sure that's on there
Oh,
so people can get on there
yeah.
and do that. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me. I appreciate it. And
Thank
I love
you.
this program. I'm excited to share it with everyone.
Absolutely. I appreciate your time and for sharing what we do with your listeners.
Absolutely.